Good afternoon, and thank you for joining Carbonite and the 2112 group for today's webinar, Leveraging the Carbonite Ransomware Defense Guide for Maximum Benefit. My name is Kathleen Martin, and I'm a senior analyst with the 2112 group and your moderator for today's event. Before we begin, there are a couple of housekeeping notes. If you haven't already done so, we ask that you please mute your line to provide a clear listening experience for all attendees. Please use the dialog box on your GoToMeeting console to ask any questions. Ask questions at any time, and we'll get to as many as time allows at the end of the presentation. Now I would like to introduce John Whitlock, Vice President of Carbonite's Channel Marketing. John, the microphone is yours.
Hey, thanks, Kathleen, and thanks everyone for joining today's partner training webinar. Just to give you a quick background on why we chose to work with the 2112 group on this special project. The 2112 group is a business strategy firm that focuses on helping companies like Carbonite improve how we work with and also provide opportunities for our partner community. You guys, to help grow together considering today's and expected future market trends. For this project specifically, we leveraged their intelligence and expertise to build this guide that we're going to be talking about today and the process to help you, our partners, better help your customers protect their companies from the continuing threats of ransomware. The 2112 group works with a number of vendors in the security and DR space, so really a deep understanding of the opportunities for partners in this marketplace and how partners should be thinking about and organizing their business and the vendors that they actually partner with to grow. The guide is not just, I think this is a really important point, the guide is not just about how Carbonite products can support your business plans, but rather it's about building a plan to help your customers protect against this evasive threat landscape. And it really encompasses multiple opportunities that you have, both preemptive, prevention and detection solutions, as well as providing a robust response plan in case of an infection, which I think is really where the Carbonite solutions can help tremendously. We have two speakers today from the 2112 group, including Larry Walsh, who is the CEO and Chief Analyst. Larry, I've known Larry for quite a long time. Great guy who has a very impressive background as a seasoned journalist, analyst, author, and industry commentator. Larry is also the founder of Channel Economics, which is a leading provider of IT channel news and analysis. So many of you probably are part of or on that subscription list. I would highly recommend it if you aren't. He also serves as vice president. He's also served in the past as vice president and marketing expert for channels and security at Ziff Davis, as well as worked as editor for Bar Business, Channel Insider, and more. So obviously a lot of names there that you recognize. It's also my pleasure to introduce from who you've already heard from, Kathleen Martin, who is on Larry's team as senior analyst at the 2112 group. So at this point, again, I appreciate everybody for joining us today and look forward to the interactions and the content we're going to hear. Let me turn it back over to Larry, who will guide us through the ransomware landscape and how you can start to build the business to help your customers maneuver safely through it with the help of the team here at Carbonite. Thanks a lot, and Larry, it's all yours.
One moment, I think we have an issue with Larry's line. Let me see if we can't correct this.
That everybody is here, and I know that we've got a really good attendance, which is pretty darn awesome. Pretty excited about that. We'll definitely be looking forward to continuing to provide you with more content and sessions like these in the future. Larry, do we have you yet? Okay.
For whatever reason, I cannot hear Larry on the line.
Can you text him to make sure that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And he asked us if we can all
The other
just
thing,
use 1 moment of patience. So, John, yes, if you want to share a little bit more with your team, he'll be right in.
I never have problems there. Just ask anybody over here at Carbonite. Not sure if everybody has the guide, but I know it's available, and I actually believe, Kathleen, it's available through the platform here.
It is. So if people take a look at their sidebar under handouts, you will notice that the guide is located there for you to download.
That's awesome. So it's a 19-page guide, and what's really exciting is now you have the guide, but what's really important is we've got the expert here, the experts, I should say, between Larry and Kathleen to really take us through the guide and just how we need to use this to go out and drive new business. Larry,
So thank you. So yeah, I'm back, and I apologize, everyone. As we all know, we often can just hope what technology does its job. It doesn't always work the way we want it to. As John said, I'm Larry Walsh of the 2112 Group, and I wanted to just take a couple of minutes before handing over to Kathleen, who will walk you through the bulk of the review, just to talk to you about a little bit about the ransomware landscape and why we did this with Carbonite. As many of you probably read in the headlines, ransomware is an epidemic threat. There are literally hundreds of companies being threatened by this. Jokingly, I was joking just yesterday, I received an email from someone saying that 92% of all security incidents start with an email, and then asked me to click here for more information, which is a kind of ridiculous way of positioning, but that is how all this starts. If you look back at some of the major hacks, they start off as errant emails that open up holes in the security infrastructure and are able to work their way through. In ransomware, unlike attacks that we've seen in the past where data is either corrupted or backdoors are opened up to steal information, ransomware leaves the information in place and allows you to actually see the files, but they're encrypted, and you're not able to the customer or the user isn't able to do anything with them until they pay their bounty to the attackers. Now, the reason why this is important to you as a Carbonite partner is because there is a lot of tools. There's many tools and there's many processes of best practices, if you will, that can be used to diminish or mitigate the threat of ransomware. And the guide that Kathleen's going to walk you through will talk to you about how to build what is called a defense in-depth strategy using synergistic controls and security mechanisms to make it harder for hackers and malware to break in and corrupt systems. But the reason why Carbonite is an important piece of this equation is because it is truly the best last line of defense. So if malware, if ransomware, if anything else comes through to corrupt or encrypt data on your customers' networks, Carbonite is there for recovery. And this is the real magic of the reason why this is important. Carbonite is an important piece of this ransomware equation. It's because all of you already know this, so I won't go into too much detail. Carbonite is protecting or backing up data of endpoints and servers into its cloud. It provides the customer with control so that they can do their own recovery time or recovery point objectives. They have this great hybrid solution, particularly with the eVault appliances, so that you can select information that's backed up into the cloud or select data to be backed up locally. But the reason why all of this works in the ransomware equation, because most ransomware will infect network shares, meaning that once it gets into an endpoint or once it gets onto a server, it will spread, and it will spread even into file sharing and file synchronization services like some that end with an X. With Carbonite and its backup, it doesn't share like that. So you know that your customer's data that's going into the Carbonite cloud or into a Carbonite appliance, that it is good data up until that last recovery point. So there's a really good reason why you want to be engaged with this. So Kathleen, next slide, please. So the reason why we wanted to work with Carbonite and put this guide together for you is not just to tell you about the great things that you can do with Carbonite to protect your customers and their data against ransomware, but also to show you different avenues and different ways that you can engage with your customers to not only give them this defense in depth security, the synergistic controls or mitigation against ransomware, but also how you can create more value through these engagements so that you're making more money along the way. So I hate to describe something like a security threat as a market opportunity, and I very much preach against using FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, as a means for validating a purchase. But there is a lot of benefit that comes from this threat. A lot of benefit that you can apply from this, to counter this threat, that is beneficial not only to your customers but to the businesses that you serve. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Kathleen Martin, who's going to walk you through the particulars of the guide.
Thank you very much, Larry. So again, I want to start by letting everybody know that over on your sidebar under handouts is the guide that we're talking about, and that is available for your download. This defense guide is a comprehensive enablement package for you, Carbonite's channel partners. It is designed to increase your security in practice and your engagement with customers around security and ransomware. Inside of this guide, we include information on understanding the current state of the security market as it relates to ransomware, and how to increase your practice and profits through ransomware protection, how to incorporate complementary technologies, there's even a list inside to share that with you, and how to include ransomware defense in tandem with your Carbonite offerings. So this is a simple story. The Carbonite Ransomware Guide is first and foremost a narrative describing how you can profit from ransomware services with Carbonite. And there's even a checklist in there to help you go through this line by line to make sure that you're not leaving an opportunity. So inside of this guide, it will discuss with you how to seize opportunities in a rapidly growing security market and targeting the increasing ransomware market. Right now, ransomware is a large discussion. You hear it almost every day on the news. It allows you the opportunity to leverage superior Carbonite solutions as differentiators and engage with Carbonite Marketing Alliance partners. There's also an opportunity to master the language of ransomware and how to take advantage of sales and marketing tools and guidelines, including a protection checklist. So understand just a little bit about the ransomware opportunity. According to FBI statistics, ransomware cost U.S. businesses $209 million in the first quarter of 2016. Let me repeat that number to you. It is $209 million in the first quarter of last year. That's up from $24 million for the full year of 2015. The average cost of recovering from a ransomware attack is more than $300,000 per incident. And that number is derived not just from looking at the cost in order to recover the machine, but downtime to the business and the amount of time that human resources is involved by engaging additional contractors and employees inside the business. Security vendor Kaspersky Lab reports that year-over-year ransomware attacks on SMB alone increased 433% in 2016. And as we've kicked off 2017, there is no sign that that number is going to decrease. More than 4,000 ransomware attacks are happening every day, and the volume of attacks is increasing at a rate of 300% annually. According to IDT 9/11 study, 84% of small and mid-sized businesses will not meet or report ransomware demands. Oftentimes, this is due to not understanding exactly what occurred inside of the system and whether it was truly a ransomware demand. And most often it occurs because your small and medium-sized businesses are embarrassed to share that they became victim to a phishing or ransomware attack. But there is a roadmap to success for you, the channel partner. This guide will offer your business step-by-step guidance on how to define ransomware, including trending and impact of breaches. This allows you to educate your customers so that they aren't facing that embarrassment and that they can create a complete and comprehensive plan to prevent ransomware with you. It will outline strategies for preventing and recovering from ransomware attacks. While you can do everything you can to set up a line of defense, sometimes remediation is required. It will also allow you to identify and define how Carbonite addresses ransomware and malware attacks, and how you can leverage Carbonite solutions in your end-to-end offering to the customer. Cataloging of technologies and vendors that complement Carbonite in the prevention of ransomware are also included inside of this guide, and there are instructions for building end-to-end ransomware protection offerings. But we provide you with more than just steps. Carbonite, through this guide, is offering a full strategy and assisting your business in understanding how to include this in your growing security practice. Your business is judged by the value you bring to your customers, and you are more aware of that than anyone else. The ransomware epidemic provides an opportunity for your business to step firmly into this trusted advisor role and to share a complete multi-vendor protection strategy. Additionally, your company's in-depth knowledge of the client's business, assets, systems, and workflow puts you in a uniquely advantageous position to evangelize the merits of a solid security practice, and not only just a practice, but a full strategy for that business to deliver them peace of mind. So with that, John, I'm going to turn this back over to you to discuss the Carbonite specials and promotions that are currently in place.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. Appreciate that excellent overview of the guide. And I think really what we wanted to do was talk a little bit about some of the promotions and incentives for you that we have going on right now that can help incentivize not only you folks, but of course your customers as well. Right now, we've got a couple customer promotions that are going on through the end of March. For anybody that, for any of your customers that purchase into the Power or Ultimate subscriptions, there's an additional 300 gigs storage, and that would come for the duration of the subscription term purchased. So if they buy a 3-year term, they get that 300 gigs for that term. If they buy a 1-year term, same thing. The key thing is they must be a net new customer to Carbonite. So this is not an upgrade or otherwise, but it's looking for new Carbonite customers through you folks. The other is we will add, so that was for specifically Power and Ultimate. For all of the Office products being Core, Power, and Ultimate, we will add 3 months to any subscription of 1 year or longer that close during the same period of time. Again, it must be a net new customer to Carbonite, and as I said, it's valid for Core, Power, and Ultimate. So a couple great opportunities to get your customers into some really valuable packages there to basically take help on that on the response plan to protect against ransomware, as well as just have a good backup strategy in place. Next slide. What does it mean for you folks, the partners? We've got some great incentives here running from now, actually from the beginning of January through the end of March as well. On the Carbonite products, the Office products, up to $500 per deal spiff. So this is all about spiffs to the reps, and you can see the levels there. 50 for Core, right on up through $500 for the sale of an E2 1 terabyte unit. Again, unlimited number of deals, so sell as much as you want, and these amounts will apply to each deal. Deal registration is required for the ones that you see starred there, Power up through the E2. line, as well as these must be, again, to new Carbonite customers. So net new customers for Carbonite. All right, so looking forward to building some business there. On the eVault product line, up to $1,000 per deal. And how you earn that is you would get 5% of the deal value, that's net sales to Carbonite. So take 5% of that, and we would calculate that and pay out on a per deal basis up to $1,000. The deal reg is required, and so what we want to make sure is that we would love to see these close during Q1, but we've got to get the deal regs done by the end of Q1. So a great opportunity to start building pipeline around eVault, and we're ready to assist and help in any way we can. Hence the deal registration. The deal registration also provides you with additional margin that gives you protection in the form of additional margin against other resellers. So it's just a great way to engage with us and to make sure that we're in there early to help you close those deals as quickly as possible. And then finally on the mail store, which is our email archiving solution, up to $500 per deal, $1 per seat, and again, unlimited number of deals, and to net new Carbonite customers. So a key thing is you must be authorized for the products that are selling, and so you must be authorized into the eVault Partner Program to sell the eVault products and be eligible for this promotion. Same thing on the Carbonite product line as well. There is another kicker. I'm not even sure if it's in the slides or not, but I'm just going to let you know that if a rep, if the same rep goes out and closes 4 or more deals by the end of March during the first quarter, January 1st through March 31st, we will double the spiff amounts on all those deals. All right. So for more details on this, certainly contact your channel account manager or sales channel, your channel sales manager, or let us know at partners@carbonite.com, and we'll make sure that you get all the information required on these incentives, both on the promotions as well as the partner incentives. And that, right, unless there's another slide, which I don't think there is, but yeah, cool. So that's that, and back to you, Kathleen.
Well, thank you very much. We do have a couple of questions, so I'm going to throw them out there. I will read the question, and then John or Larry, depending on who I address this to, if you could please answer it. So John, this is the first one for you. How do you protect the backed up files themselves from getting infected? And can we guarantee the customers they will have a true recovery in case of a ransomware attack?
You know, that is a great question. I would rather have a product person, someone on the SE side, answer that question. So let's make sure we get that question answered, and we'll make sure that we get that out to everybody. But just to be clear, from the questions that I'll take, I would rather focus more on the guide itself or the incentives, and the product questions, let's make sure we get them, and we'll get those answered out appropriately.
John, this is also for you. What is the deal registration? How does it work with Carbonite?
Yeah, that's a great question. So deal registration is a process that where you would go into the appropriate portal. So for an eVault solution sale, you would go into the eVault partner portal. For the Carbonite solution sale, you would go to the Carbonite partner portal. You would go to the deal registration portion and of the page of the website, and there you would basically fill out the customer information. It's a pretty simple process, and there's a handful of fields. You go in, you fill out the information, and you submit it, and then that comes into the channel account team, where it's reviewed and approved, or in some cases it might be denied if there's already a deal reg out there or an opportunity existing with that customer. but in most cases, those are swiftly approved, and at that point, our team would reach out to you to start working the details in terms of how you want to proceed on that deal.
Thank you very much. And John, this is also for you. Does a client need to erase or reset their computer to remove the ransomware before downloading the backup?
Again, great question. You know, I'm not sure if I don't have a product specialist in terms of the actual execution of a proper restore. In the case of a ransomware file, obviously, my assumption is there would need to be you would need to somehow get rid of the infected files before a backup, but I don't want to state exactly how that's done. Let's make sure that that we get that answer as well. And what it also feels like to me is there is a more how do you do this with the Carbonite product opportunity for us to come back out to this group in another webinar with those product specialists who could absolutely dive a lot deeper into this. So that's my key takeaway, and I'll make sure it happens, as well as making sure that the answers to any questions that we have here are distributed.
Thank you. Larry, I believe this would be one for you. In your specific experience, do you believe that customers are aware of the ransomware threat, and will they understand what the channel partners are talking about? I may have lost Larry on that one. So I'll put that one on you right now. Oh, there you are.
Kathleen, I'm sorry. So no, I was going to say is that what I started to say is that yes, I think the customers are aware, but whether or not that they are aware that they are at risk is an entirely different issue. Like all things with that happen in security is that we don't respond until we see a direct threat, and by then it's too late. So part of the opportunity is for a Carbonite partner is to talk with the customers about what the real threats are, being able to perform security assessments so that they can understand, they can give the customers an idea of what their risk posture is and what their risk exposure is, and then being able to provide the remedial action. But that starts with a conversation, again, to let them know, you may have heard about this, but do you really understand what's at stake?
Thank you very much. I have another one that I guess goes to both John and Larry, but is this a guide that can be shown to the customers?
Well, I'll take that one, Kathleen. So yes, there's actually two versions of this. Is that one is there's a guide here for you, and the guide for you is specifically designed to help you understand the opportunity and the positioning and how you can better leverage different security technologies with Carbonite to solve or to help your customers with the ransomware threat. But we've also prepared a customer-facing version of this, and Carbonite has other materials as well that you can show the customer about the ransomware threat and how Carbonite fits into the ransomware defense opportunity.
Yeah, I'll take that one step further as well, Larry. And we're actually planning an additional engagement with Larry and Kathleen in the 2112 group to actually take this to the market as a customer-facing webinar. And in that, the plans are from the channel marketing team here to put the assets together to help you drive any customers that you want to that webinar as well, where they would be your customers, and you would know exactly who's coming. So basically, it's an opportunity for you to engage with your customers or prospects through a program that we have that's already in the can with less heavy lifting on your part. So stay tuned for more information on that and whether it would make sense for you to participate.
Thank you very much. And we do have many more questions coming in. Several of these are product related, so again, we will be capturing all of these product related questions and addressing them directly after a systems engineer, John, from your team has had an opportunity to review them.
Yeah, Kathleen, let me just interrupt real quick. I'm going to go see if I can find an engineer real quick to come back. So if you could ask some of the questions that might be addressed toward Larry, that would be cool.
I can do that, and we will answer. We'll take this next question to you, Larry. What happens if the channel provider is not offering some of these other security technologies?
Well, I think that's, again, this is one of the opportunities that the guide opens up for you is there's not one piece of technology, whether it's security or backup, is going to act as a silver bullet against ransomware or any other security threat for that matter. There's, part of the checklist, part of the buyer's guide that we've included in the guide is designed to help stimulate thinking amongst you, so that you can see what else is available, what does make up a good security fabric, or the defense in depth that I described at the beginning. And then maybe if you don't have those relationships or you don't have that expertise, there's two things you can do. One is you can reach out and start talking with some of these other vendors and start talking about the opportunities to work with them and incorporate their products into your portfolio and into your go-to-market strategy. Or the other thing is that you can reach out to your peers that do have those relationships and do have that expertise in firewalling and intrusion prevention and in antivirus and so forth, so that you can then accrete greater value either by developing that relationship or partnering with another company that does have that capacity. I think what this does is that it provides you with a broader view of the world than just listening to another company say, adopt backup and use this against ransomware. We all know that it's not as simple as that we need to have a more holistic approach to the problem. And in doing so, this guide shows you, and I think it's actually altruistic that Carbonite asked for it to be built this way, is to provide you with more opportunities to layer on technologies and services that can be sold that accrete more value along the way. So you're actually stacking profitability as well as building up these overlapping controls.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you very much. I'm checking to see if we have any other non-product related questions. And Larry, while I take a look at that, can you discuss just a little bit about the checklist itself and how it assists in building a really good plan to not miss any of the revenue opportunity inside of a partner engagement?
Sure. Yeah, I think that there's this is really where the checklist that's contained within the guide is really a cornerstone for you. It provides you with a step-by-step look at how do you approach a customer on an engagement. How do you go through and check for measure that ransomware exposure. But that said, I also think that there's between the checklist as well as the positioning, there is also a step-by-step guide on selling. This is where you have the opportunity to home your practice in on being a more complete security offering. And as I'm looking, and Kathleen and I can see the questions as they're coming in. Is there any, as I just saw one, is there any future for white label? Well, I actually think that this is your white label. That if you're, Carbonite and the other vendors are providing you with the product sale opportunity. They are not necessarily talking about, or they're not necessarily offering you your own brand equity. They're not offering you a value beyond the margins in the compensation that some of the things that John's talking about. So through this checklist and through the process of doing assessments for your customers, that becomes your white label. That becomes how you structure that, and you can structure it any way you want to. The things that we talk about in the guide are really more recommendations, but you can take these and tailor them and customize them any way you want. But they become yours. They're your IP. They're your ability to differentiate yourself from the guy down the street who's offering similar services. They're your way of showing your expertise.
And the line is quiet. I think we may have lost Larry in the middle of that conversation.
Hey, Kathleen, this is John, and I actually
Hi,
got
John.
Tom Powers, one of our true experts here, to help on any product questions. So as you might see him while we wait for Larry to come back,
Well, let me go ahead and get started. We have several of them. So the first one that I have for you is they would like to know that both on-site as well as off-site backups would not be affected by the ransomware.
This is for Carbonite. Which specific products? Is it Carbonite server, Carbonite endpoint?
Yeah, so it's going to be, so what we're, just to give Tom a little bit of a background here, we're talking about ransomware and a guide that we put together for partners with the help of the 2112 group. We've got, we just went through it. We're talking about, it's not product specific.
Okay.
And so we're really taking a look at the overall spectrum of the Carbonite product portfolio, including eVault. So if the answer is some, all, whatever, and if that's helpful.
Yeah, sure. So can you repeat the question?
Sure, I can. Just one moment, please. Sure I can. So what they're wanting to know is they'd like to know that both on-site as well as off-site backups would not be affected by ransomware.
So if a PC gets infected, something gets infected, how are they sure that not only, that when that PC gets infected, it's not also infecting the backups?
Yeah, so I mean the backups are stored in an encrypted cloud environment, and so you're able to restore to another computer in most cases. So with eVault, you can restore from any computer that you have registered, or you can do a bare metal restore to a brand new server. When it comes to Carbonite, there's remote file access to access your files, and in both of those cases, you're accessing data that is stored in an encrypted cloud that's not impacted by the ransomware, so it shouldn't be an issue.
So when my PC gets infected here locally, there's a backup schedule that's kicking off, and if somehow I didn't discover that ransomware on my PC until that next backup kicked off, would I be okay in terms of that backup?
We're talking about a workstation, not a server here?
Either or.
So it depends. There's a difference.
Yeah.
So again, on the eVault side, your eVault server backups, not workstation backups, and they're scheduled backups.
Yeah.
And there's for what we call forever incrementals that has a snapshot. A typical standard retention is every day from the past year. So you're able to restore at the block level of your data any snapshot of that server from any point in the last year.
Fantastic.
So if a backup happened yesterday and the ransomware happened yesterday, you can restore from the day before.
2 days ago.
2 days ago,
Yeah.
and you're fine.
And how about on the Carbonite PC level?
PC level, the Carbonite side, you're able to specify which files and folders you want backed up. So we're not talking image level, we're talking file level.
Okay.
So and you're able to restore any file from the cloud. So it's not going to infect the whole system. So
And you're able to also look at more than just one revision.
On the Carbonite side, no, it's a continuous backup solution. So there's not you're not looking at a bunch of different snapshots. On the workstation side, on the Carbonite server backup side, there are full backups kept in the cloud, and you have the ability to control any number of backups that you want in the cloud, or on a NAS device or whatever. So you have the ability to control that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Back to you, Kathleen.
Thank you. So the next question is, how do you protect the backed up files themselves from getting infected? And can we guarantee the customers that they will have a true recovery in case of a ransomware attack?
Yeah, so it goes to the same exact, what I just kind of talked about, especially on the eVault and server side, which is, a higher horsepower enterprise grade backup. It has block level tracking of every single change that's ever happened on that server at a bare metal level. And so you have the ability to have a full image backup that does a snapshot for a year, or we also have custom retention that you could keep a snapshot every single day for years and years and years. And you have the ability to restore based on the calendar date of each of those block level backups at any time. So it's really, you're guaranteed protection on that side.
And that would be relevant for the E2 products as well.
E2, eVault, and as well. Yep. And then on the server backup side, again, as long as you're keeping multiple copies in the cloud, which you have the clear ability to do, you can restore from those copies as needed.
So Kathleen, I'm not sure how many more questions are focused on product, as I think this is a really interesting conversation. I don't want to assume everybody on the call is as specifically focused on the feeds and not the feeds and speeds, but the features of the product. I think it would be great, based on this, to have Tom join me on a separate webinar to really dive into the capabilities of the product and how we do exactly what Larry was talking about early on in terms of really being that response plan in case of infection. So with that, if that makes sense, let's take some more questions around the program itself or on the actual guide, and then stay tuned on more product-related stuff in the future.
So I'll go ahead and ask if at this time anybody has a question related to programs or the guide. If you will put that forward in the question box. We'll give just a minute here to see if anyone has any. I will tell you I do have 5 more questions related to actually SE discussion points. I do have one product question that came in. Is there a seeding program for an initial large backup, John?
So there's on our eVault side and E2 side, there's definitely a seeding program, and there's a recovery program. I can actually tell you it's $350. It's a one-time fee. What we do is we give you we ship you a little USB device, and you plug it into the server, and we have our professional services team remotely access the E2, and you set up your agents and configurations just as you would, and then instead of having to back up over the wire to the cloud, which if you have a really bad internet connection could take a while. It backs up to that USB, and then you ship the USB back to us, and then we put it into the cloud, and everything thereafter is forever incremental backups. So we're talking about very fast backups and fast recoveries as well. And as far as recovery goes, you can also pay that same fee to have them ship you a device to recover the whole image if you don't think you're going to be able to recover from the appliance, or if you're direct to cloud, directly from the cloud. So yes, we do.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you, and I do want to share that we've had several partners that are currently on the line asking to be included in a deeper dive into the product questions. We actually have one customer who has shared that they find it difficult to sell a product before they fully understand it. So more information related along the lines of the product differentiators themselves, the questions they have specifically related to the products, is definitely something that is coming forward in the questions right now.
Yeah, that's
with
right.
that,
I mean, just to follow up on that, what we'll do is I'll work with Tom and team here. We'll schedule up something for the near future, maybe in the next few weeks, and we'll get the invites out. And certainly what would be really helpful is if there are any questions that you have specific to what your understanding is today, as well as what you'd like us to cover. That would be hugely helpful, and we would absolutely appreciate it. So thank you.
Let me see. I have one more question that just came in here. Let me make sure this is not a product related. Oh, this is related to the seating question. So the seating option is not available for the office plans.
For the we have courier recovery for the office plans, but not seating. Correct.
So take us through the courier.
Courier recovery is the same type of thing I just mentioned, where we ship you a device that has the data in the cloud, so you don't have to recover from the cloud.
Right. Yeah.
Seating is only available for the eVault and E2 side.
Great.
All right. So we have several questions that have come in as to where to send your questions. For the questions for the future webinar that John has discussed, that should be sent to partners@carbonite.com.
That's fantastic. You got it exactly, Kathleen. Nice job. No, we'll look forward to that. I think what the plan is really to work with Tom and team to develop a monthly series of product-related trainings for the technical folks And, you know, when I say technical folks, not just the wrench spinners, but also the salespeople that really like to dive in deep. So stay tuned for that. Look forward to it, and I'm really glad to hear the questions coming in because it validates the need for that.
All right, so again, I want to share, if you have a question related to ransomware, technology, the state of the market, I encourage you to go ahead and email me. That email is on the screen now. If you want to share your thoughts about how business is going right now and how you see the state of the solution provider and MSP market and security provider market heading forward, there is a link at the bottom of your screen right now, and we encourage you to share your voice right now and have it heard. And if you have a question you want to share with Carbonite to be included on these future webinars, again, I want to share that address is partners@carbonite.com. If you have not yet downloaded your guide, please take a look on the sidebar, and it is available there. And John, will this be included, this guide, both versions of it, on your partner portal?
Absolutely. In fact, what we're going to do is on the follow-up to this, we'll make sure that a link is included in that follow-up email where you can go and download it.
Terrific. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for everybody that has joined us today. This has definitely been a technology challenged from time to time webinar. Larry definitely sends forward his apologies as power has completely died in his location today. But I hope that you found value in what he was able to share with us both during the Q&A and in the opening of the presentation. John, I want to thank you and your team today for putting this webinar forward and allowing us to share more information on this guide.
Hey, thanks, Kathleen. Yep, thanks, Kathleen. Thanks, Larry, even though you can't hear me. And I'm certainly glad Larry's a Carbonite user so that no matter what the issue is, he's backed up.
Well, and we appreciate that was the first thing he texted me as soon as he went down. So again, for those that did not write it down yet, partners@carbonite.com with your questions. And from all of us, Carbonite 2112 and our speakers today, thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.